Vacation time is here. However, Social Security is never on vacation. Stay tuned, stay informed about Social Security changes, events, and programs while you're on the go. Visit Social Security on social media outlets. That's right, like us on Facebook, go to Twitter and YouTube. Social Security is there for you through life's journey. Stay tuned for the Social Security Hotline on CAN TV. Good afternoon. My name is Dolly Robinson, and I am a technical expert that works out of the Social Security office at 63rd and Cottage Grove. And I will be your host for this edition of the Social Security Hotline. With me in the studio today is my guest, Cynthia Fulton. And at this time, I'm going to ask her to introduce herself.
Hi, Dolly. Yes, I'm Cynthia Fulton, and I'm a project manager for the Regional Public Affairs Office here in Chicago. And we actually deal with people from Chicago, from Illinois, from Indiana, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, and Ohio, the 6 states in our region. And we're really glad that I got a chance to come here and speak to you today.
Oh, very good, very good. Sounds like you have a lot of work on your hands.
Yes.
And so today we have a topic lined up for our audience. I want to remind you that this is an interactive call-in program, and the number is on the bottom of your screen. The number to call with your questions about Social Security, even if it doesn't relate to the topic that we're talking about today, you can still call in with your Social Security questions. The number to call is area code 312-738-1060. We have Andy Salata, our phone tech, and he is waiting for your call. So Cynthia, the topic that I'd like to discuss today is our disability programs. We have so many people coming in saying that they're disabled. People are trying to file, but they really don't understand the programs that we have. So they're not aware of the fact that we have two different programs.
Right.
They're both disability programs. So we want to talk briefly about those two programs. So can you give us some brief highlights on those two programs, the disability programs?
Yes, Dolly, I sure can. Our first program is just known as Social Security Disability Program, and it's for individuals who have worked long enough and paid into Social Security. They're worked at least 10 years or more, and they have a condition that enables them to work, or if the condition lasts for 12 months or longer or result in death. Now, with Social Security Disability Program, you have to be what's called insured, to have at least 40 quarters of coverage, which means when a person goes into our office or calls us or applies online for disability, they will have to have at least been disabled 5 years out of the last 10 before they can be qualified for disability. The other program that we have is called Supplemental Security Income, known as SSI, and that's for people who have little or no income, blind or disabled, and not fully insured but have a medical condition. And again, which we'll talk about later, you can apply at the field offices or call online and apply as well.
Yeah, so a person is disabled if they cannot work at a substantial level. So in some cases,
That's right.
people are able to do a little part-time work or something, but it's not enough
Right.
to sustain them. So if they're not making that $1,170 gross a month, then what do you suggest? That they should come in and file, right?
Yes, we still ask them to come in and encourage them to file, because the best thing to do is at least file so they can get a form of determination. It's better to file and get a form of determination so that the appeal rights will apply
Yes.
if you disagree with that decision.
Yeah, so we're asking those of you in our viewing audience, if you think that you're disabled, not able to work a full-time job, or you have a condition that meets the disability criteria, then we encourage you to come in and file a claim, because you never know unless you file.
That's right. And even, Dolly, just remember, it's just not physical disability. We're also speaking mental as well.
Yeah, physical or mental disabilities. And the determination is made by a team of doctors and nurses and psychologists and all of those who are trained in that area to evaluate the disability and your medical records and so on. Sometimes we hear people tell us that they think they have to get their medical records, but that's not true, right?
Right, that's not true, Dolly. Even if you are disabled, you want to apply, if you don't have your medical records, that's okay. We will get the medical records from the doctors or hospitals that you have gone to for service, because you are going to provide us the information, what doctor you have seen, what hospital you have gone to, so we can get that information. You're going to sign a medical release form, which gives us, you are giving us consent to get that information.
Yeah.
So no, you don't have to bring in those documents.
And then some hospitals and medical centers, they charge a fee.
That's right.
And Social Security can get those records, and there would be no fee or no cost to the individual who's filing. Okay, and you said that we have this other program known as SSI. Now, what are the rules governing that program?
Well, the same rules apply for just as if a person who has worked and paid in to Social Security and has a disabled condition. So as far as that is, the only difference is that the person can apply who has no income or very little earnings, and they are blind, disabled, or over the age of 65 for the supplemental security income. But for the disability, we have some children who are disabled. They have not worked, so they may qualify if they have a disabled condition for supplemental security income.
Yeah, so these disability programs, there's something really for everybody who is not able to work. And the SSI program is based on your income and resources.
That's
as
right.
well.
That's right.
So there's a resource limit if you want to file for supplemental security income, which is also known as SSI. And you also mentioned the children's
Yes.
Cases, and we do have a lot of those disabled children. And we look at the parents'
Right.
income and resources in those cases.
That's right,
as
because a
well.
lot of people ask us, Dolly, about SSI, and it is a needs-based program, so
Yes.
the funding from this SSI, Supplemental Security Income, comes from the general tax dollars. So this is why we have to ask for the income of the parents or the resources of the parents for a child, and for an individual over the age 18, same thing, we have to ask them for their income and resources to determine if they would qualify for the Supplemental Security Income program.
Yeah, because we hear a lot of times from the mothers, what that's got to do with my income?
We sure do.
And so we have to let them know that this is a needs-based program. We look at all the income that comes into the household, including TANF,
That's
public
all,
aid.
yes.
Including that, we also have to look at that. So if a person wants to file a claim, how would they go about filing a claim? How would they start out? How would they start?
Well, there's
process.
several ways. Number one, of course, you can visit any one of our field offices throughout the Chicagoland or metro area and apply in person. You can also call our toll-free number, as Social Security's toll-free number, 1-800-772-1213, which is shown. And you can talk to one of the agents and make an appointment to file, which we encourage. And another way is you can also file online on our website, socialsecurity.gov, and just click on the link that says disability. So but that's our online services, and for more information, again, you can get that on www.socialsecurity.gov. And it's really your option to apply online, but we do encourage you to take the option, because you can just do it in your convenience of your very own home when you apply online.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are encouraging people to use our online services because our offices are very crowded. And even though many times people walk in the office and want to file those claims, and we can't take them, and they sit there for a couple of hours, and then when they come to the desk or come to the claims rep desk, they're told that we can't see you today.
Right.
So we do recommend you to call and make an appointment. Make an appointment, and you can make that appointment by calling the 800 number as you can see on your screen. The 800 number is open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And you can make your appointment right there. And then, of course, another way and the best way to file, what we really are encouraging you to do, is go online and use our online services, because you can, like you said, Cynthia, we can, you can do it from the convenience of your home. You can do it at your own leisure. You can save your application, go back to it later. But one of the key things about filing online, you need to make sure you complete that application and submit it. If you don't complete it and submit it, then the office, your office who will handle that claim, will not know it's there.
That's right.
Yeah, so you need to make sure if you go online, it's not a hard process. Even when you come into some of the local offices, we have computers called self-help computers, and you will be able to use the computers in the office. Well, it looks like we have a caller coming in. Caller, go ahead with your question.
Yes, hi. I was online and I was wondering, what age can a person retire? I saw 60, then I saw 62.
Okay, that's a good question. Now, 60 is for what?
That's for the widows.
Widows.
A widow can retire, file for widow's benefits, actually. Widows or widowers benefits, actually, age 60. For
Okay,
retirement,
I am 60.
you are 60.
I'm 59. I'll be turning 60 next year.
Are you a widow?
Yes.
Yes, you can file for widow's benefits.
Oh, okay. Okay, so do you have time to answer another question?
Go right ahead.
Okay, now, my other question is, I'm applying for Social Security widow disability, but I work part-time. I cannot afford not to work, even though I'm going back and forth to the doctor. I only work 29 hours a week. I'm getting different feedback saying that I should not be working at all. How else can I support myself?
Well, you can work, as we were saying earlier. I don't know what time you turned on the program, but earlier we were talking about the limit for substantial gainful employment, which is $1,170 gross income
Per month.
per month. So if you are under that limit, then you are at or below that limit, then that's really not counted as substantial gainful activity. But we in the office, what we do is if a person comes in and say that they're disabled and they're working, we will evaluate the work. There are a lot of things that go into that. So when the time comes, you can file for disabled widows at age 50.
Right.
So if you're 59 and still working, you may just want to wait until you're 60, 3 months before your 60th birthday, and then file for your widows. But yeah, you would still be under those work constraints if you're working. Even if you file for, even when you file for your widows, if you're working, there are some work limits if you're under the full retirement age.
And Dolly, if I can add, with the disabled widows benefits, it depends upon your disability. And since you said you're working, there may be some what's called work incentives,
Right.
which means some of the earnings that you have earned, we may be able to deduct and not count them against you. So our technicians will be able to ask you about that and look into that further. So yes, disabled widows benefits starts at age 50, and widows benefits begin at age 60.
Okay, does that answer your question? I think our caller is gone, but that was a very good question.
Yes.
And at age 62, she has some options too.
Right.
At the disabled, as a disabled widow, she can file at any time because she's over 50.
Right.
And at 60, certainly she can file for straight widows.
Straight widows, right.
Or she can wait until 62
Right.
and file for her own Social Security.
That's right.
Okay, looks like we have another caller coming in. Caller, go ahead with your question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm 66. My wife is 61. I'm still working. I have not filed for Social Security. She's unemployed. Can she file off of my Social Security benefits?
You would have to file. Well, first of all, she's not old enough. She's got to be 62. And you would have to file. You would have to file in order for her to get benefits. Now, if you're 66, chances are, and still working, that's okay. Because you're full retirement age. And you can work and make as much as you want and still work. So you need to talk with somebody at your local office because you may be disadvantaging yourself financially.
Okay.
Because unless you're trying to wait until age 70 to max out on your Social Security, it's going to go up every year that you delay.
Right.
You'll get delayed retirement credits. But you might want to consider filing a claim since you are over the full retirement age, and you
Can
can't.
I file for my benefits and then suspend it?
No, they don't have that anymore.
No, that ended
year.
last year, January of 2016. So we're
Oh,
all,
my goodness.
Yes, that ended. But hopefully you file for your Medicare. If anything, you should, just like Dolly said, you should contact us so that we can explain everything, because at age 65, at least the hospital insurance, which is free, you've gotten your Medicare card. So it's very important for you and your wife really to contact us, and so we can give you more information. And since you're at your full retirement age, you can get all 12 of your checks, your Social Security checks, and still work, and it does not count against you.
So hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so yeah, that was a good question too, because at age 66, well, we have a lot of people. We have
Yes.
a lot of people that know this. And at age 66, they come in, they file for their benefits, and they're still working, and many of them just keep on working, and they're still able to get all their checks. But in his case, if he wants his wife to get benefits, then he really should file a claim when she gets 62, and then he would still earn a year's worth of DRTs.
That's right.
Which would also increase his benefit even more than it is right now.
Right, because we will give him credit for those earnings.
Yeah.
Even though he's 66, 67 and still working, we'll give him credit.
Exactly. So he needs to get in touch with us kind of like right away. Okay, so now they'll start a person who wants to get on disability.
Yes.
They'll start by maybe making an appointment, or either use our electronic services and walk in. Now, we are not encouraging walk-ins because, like we said before, the Social Security offices are very, very crowded. Some offices do not take walk-ins. Some offices only take appointments. And so you may be waiting a long time in the office to be told that you won't be able to be seen that day. Okay, so it sounds like filing online is the best method to go.
Right.
That sounds like that's the best thing to go. Now, we got one more question I want to get out there to our audience about how long does it take to get a disability decision?
Well, that's a good question, Dolly, because it takes approximately, the average time is 90 to 120 days to get an initial decision. However, a person who has a terminal illness or certain conditions, the decision could come back faster, sometimes within 7 to 10 days. Again, it depends upon the condition. And what we call these particular decisions is called a quick disability decision or a compassionate allowance. And just to give you an example, when someone who may have stage 4 cancer or kidney failure, these are just to name just a few of the compassionate allowance decisions that can take anywhere between 7 to 10 days or even faster.
Yeah, and so if a person has any of these type of conditions, they need to really file. The sooner they file, the better off, because we do get those decisions really quickly. Another one that comes to mind is Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
Those go relatively quickly, and so you'll want to get in there and file those claims as soon as possible. And in some instances, if you qualify, SSI, if you file the SSI claim and you meet that criteria, we can start your checks like right away.
Yes.
They can be started up right away with the proper documentation, some type of medical evidence or whatever. We can start those claims up right away. Okay, now we're going to briefly move on to our appeal process.
Yes.
A person gets denied, then what should they do?
The first thing, if a person gets denied, you have the right to file what's called a reconsideration at the initial level. Now, you only have 60 days from the date of the notice to file that appeal at this level. And you can do that by calling our toll-free number and requesting an appointment to visit the office to file that appeal. And just remember that the appeal time for filing an appeal is 60 days from the date of the notice. And that's very, very important.
Yes, it is.
Because they can even call again, that toll-free number is 800-772-1213 again, and we're available from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and you might get anyone across the United States, depending upon what time you call.
Okay, and then too, they can file that appeal online as well.
Yes.
And that's a really a little quicker process than filing the initial decision. And then we just want to briefly mention that if you get denied at the reconsideration level,
Yes.
you can come in within 60 days. Now remember, that's a 60-day time period. You would have to come in within 60 days and ask for a hearing to go before an administrative law judge.
That's right.
And let them determine your fate.
You're right.
And many claims get approved at the hearing level.
Yes.
At the hearing level, at the administrative law judge, he looks at all the laws, looks at the complete file all the way through. He may even go back to some previous applications that you put in.
That's right.
And he could reopen some of those. So it is not a good idea just because you get denied. It's not a good idea to just drop it and say, well, I'm just going to try to go back to work. And then you go back to work and you get sicker and sicker and sicker. And so that's not a good idea. Well, it looks like we're running out of time. It's been so good having you in the
Yes.
studio with us today.
Thank you.
We're running out of time, which means we can't take any more calls on the air. We thank those who called in. We hope you got your questions answered. We thank our audience for joining us this evening for this edition of Social Security on CAN TV. We want to invite you to tune in again on next week. We'll have a different team in, and they will be able to take your calls and questions over the air. So on behalf of our team, myself, Dolly Robinson, Cynthia Fulton, and our capable phone technician, Andy Salata, we thank you for tuning in, and we wish you a very safe and pleasant evening.